long time ago, people got sick, and no one knew why. We were there. They said there were no answers. We found them. They said there was no hope. We found it. We were pioneers. Since then, our world has changed. We slowed down, and our voice grew quiet, but cancer did not. People still need us, and today we choose to stand together. We are stronger because of those who came before us, and now we will forge a new path. Together, we will no longer remain quiet in the shadows. We will change. We will innovate. Together, we will save lives. We will celebrate lives. We will lead the fight for a world without cancer. Together, we are the American Cancer Society.
Today as we kick off the Power of Pink campaign. My name is Kaylee Chris, and I'm joining you live from North Canton, Ohio. I've been a volunteer with the American Cancer Society for more than 15 years through our local breast cancer walk. And like so many of you, I know firsthand how important it is that we rally together to fight breast cancer. Now, normally this time of year, we will be kicking off our breast cancer initiatives in person. And while I miss it for sure, it's an honor to be among so many dedicated and passionate individuals. Every time I've been to an American Cancer Society event, it's just so inspiring because you hear about the advances in the medical community, so much of it because of the funding from the American Cancer Society. Hearing from the survivors and the amount of years that they've been through survivorship, it is so inspiring. And of course, being around all the volunteers. So now you've heard a little bit to hear from all of you. Where are you joining us from today? And why did you decide to be a part of the Power of Pink? So go ahead, share in the chat box. Now, don't be shy. We'll call a few names out throughout the program. In the next half hour, you'll learn more about the American Cancer Society's impact on breast cancer. Hear some amazing stories of survivorship and learn more. Put your passion into action to fund the future of breast cancer research and essential programs and services. Now, let's hear more about how this support is making an impact from ACS leader Felicia Davis.
I'm Felicia Davis, and I'm a proud member of the ACS Illinois Board. Thank you for joining the movement to save lives from breast cancer. We are so grateful for your commitment. I know that this is an especially tough year for fundraising. Trust me, I know. My day job is running a women's foundation in Chicago where we dedicate resources to women and girls. But I continue to dedicate my time to ACS because I know that cancer hasn't stopped. And in fact, those facing breast cancer are facing greater obstacles than ever before, like delayed treatment, isolation, and increased barriers to receiving care. COVID-19 has significantly impacted the work of the American Cancer Society. Due to a fundraising shortfall, ACS may be forced to reduce our investment in cancer research by 50% next year. That's the society's lowest investment this century. For the more than 270,000 people facing breast cancer in 2020, we have to keep fighting. They are counting on us, and I know that this collective group coming together can change that. Teddy Roosevelt once said, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." And I am asking each of you to think today about what you can do in this fight. Whether you commit it to $1,000, $2,500, or plan to raise even more, commit now. Commit today to meeting and exceeding that goal. I am sure many of you are here because you care about someone with breast cancer. I am here for my loved ones who have battled this disease courageously and won and are living vibrant lives, and for my loved ones who have battled this disease and were not so fortunate to see the other side. I know that everything we do makes a difference here. It is often those stories that you hear about our sisters, our aunts, our friends, our mothers that keep us going in our mission to rid the world of breast cancer. Every single one of them is living proof that your work and dedication is saving lives. Nobody knows this better than the survivors, and I am honored to introduce you to an amazing cancer survivor now. Thanks for joining us, Pam.
Hello, I'm Pam Arab, and I am a breast cancer survivor. December 26th of 2015 was a pretty typical day after Christmas for me. I had spent most of the day relaxing and feeling all the feelings from a great holiday spent with my family. My boyfriend and I decided to use one of our Christmas gifts and go out to dinner. So with a spring in my step, I went to shower. And that was when I knew the new year we were about to ring in was going to be very different than I had planned. In March of 2016, I received my breast cancer diagnosis. In 2019, I found myself facing a second battle with a diagnosis of recurrent breast cancer. This second fight has been harder and has lasted longer. Most of my treatment happened in 2019, but my treatment carried over to 2020 with a prescription of 6 months of oral chemotherapy. This treatment became more of a burden than I could have ever imagined with the introduction of COVID-19 into our world. I did not leave my house for 2 months other than to go to doctor's appointments. I worked from home and I shopped online. I FaceTimed with my son and granddaughter and my father. And those doctor's appointments I went to, let me tell you how different those were. Since March of 2016, my professional caregivers have become a second family to me. And even though, unlike my family, I could see them face to face, there was a new distance during my appointments that had not been there before. There was a clinical feel to every visit thanks to the addition of gloves and masks and 6-foot distances. I was not able to have a loved one to an office visit with me, and the burden of listening and understanding became solely mine. Whereas before, I had always been fortunate enough to have moral, mental, and emotional support in the office with me. This past week, I had an unexpected stay for a few nights in the hospital. I also had the heartbreaking job of telling my father and my son and my siblings that no, they could not come see me. I was only allowed one designated visitor during my entire stay. The thing that people who aren't immunocompromised do not understand is that to those of us who are, choosing to stay safe at home really isn't a choice. It's a life or death decision. As a cancer survivor, my medical team and I had a pretty good idea and experience on how to fight cancer. But fighting coronavirus while fighting cancer was not something that any of us had experience with. Cancer hasn't gone away or become less important in the months since our country has entered this pandemic. It has gotten more complicated, and it has been diagnosed less because of fear of a diagnosis during these times. I thank each and every one of you who are here and dedicated to this fight along with myself and my fellow breast cancer survivors. You are all part of the power of pink.
Thank you, Pam. It's true that the pandemic has impacted even as we are each dealing with the effects of COVID, women across the country are still hearing the words, "You have breast cancer," and like Pam, are facing even greater obstacles to appointments and treatments. So it's up to us to make a difference. It's time to show up and rock our pink passion. So what are you signing up for? By committing to the power $2,500 with all of the donations supporting breast cancer research and critical support services. You're agreeing to wear pink every day in October. Now don't worry, it can be as simple as a pink ribbon, a pin, or a tie. Of course, a full pink outfit is always appropriate too. We love to see those. And you're committing to raise awareness through your personal and social network. It's that easy. Now, don't forget to keep sharing in the chat where you're from and why you're involved. In fact, let's check out some of the comments now. I want to say a big hi to Kathy in Massillon, Ohio. Also want to say hi to Sarah in Dayton, Danielle in Detroit, and Peyton in Nashville. Thanks for joining us today. Cancer fighters and survivors all have incredible stories about their cancer. It's often those stories that keep us going even in the toughest of times. Nobody knows this better than someone who has been there, and I am honored to introduce you to cancer survivor Latasha Agelink.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer late last year, and I found the lump myself. I'm familiar with my breasts. No one knows your body like you know your body. So when I felt a lump, I went in and I got it checked out. I was diagnosed, and less than a month later, I was having a lumpectomy. Here we are now, a year later. I'll be celebrating 1 year being cancer-free. When I got diagnosed, one of the first things that I wanted to look for was information about how has this disease had an effect on African American women. To be able to go on the American Cancer Society website and find recent studies, it's eye-opening and amazing, because oftentimes I feel that African American women are invisible. They're talking about the African American community and how this disease is affecting the community. And so to see the American Cancer Society is looking at me and seeing me too as the face of breast cancer is really important. We need to educate all women on breast cancer, on triple negative. There's so many resources out there. This has affected many people, many women. Although we've come a long ways, there's still so much more research and information, and helping to raise funds actually can move this cause along. Breast cancer is many things, but it's not the winner. Know your breast and advocate for yourself, but then get busy, because there's a lot of hope out there.
As you just heard, there are disparities and health equity issues faced by African American women that absolutely need to be addressed. Reducing cancer disparities by race and ethnicity is an overarching goal of the American Cancer Society. We do that through programs like Change Grants that support screening and drive early qualified health centers around the country. The ACS also funds and conducts research that focuses on disparities in health inequity. We have special grants just for those projects. And we reduce disparities through programs and services that help women get to treatment and find support when and where they need it. But we know there is more work to do. One more reason why we need you. Now, breast cancer survivors, we want to hear from you. Go ahead and tell us in the comments how many days, weeks, or years of survivorship you're celebrating right now. And let's show our breast cancer survivors and thrivers some love. Now, while you're doing that, let's hear from another survivor about how and why the Society's research program is making an impact.
To be a mom of 4 kids is crazy making. You're constantly juggling schedules and, who needs to be where when and who's hungry and who's not. But it's also awesome because it's full of many, many hugs and smiles and I love you mommies, and it's the best of both worlds. I was 27 weeks pregnant with my 4th child, and I felt a lump and thought, oh, it's probably just, a milk duct or something. I'm getting ready to have a baby. And I showed it to my doctor, who kind of whisked me away and was like, nope, we got to get that checked out. And within 2 weeks' time, I was in chemo while I was still pregnant. When I first found out that I had cancer, I went through, the normal thoughts. I worried that I wasn't gonna get to meet my baby. You imagine that you're not gonna be here, or what your family's life will be like if you weren't here. But I didn't have time to stay in bed and sulk or feel sorry for myself. All I could do was just get back up and keep on going and keep on being their mom. And because I was their mom, I had a purpose, and I had, enough drive to keep on going. And that's what keeps me going now. I was nearing the 5-year mark, because that's a big goal. And that February, I was re-diagnosed. It had metastasized to my pelvic bone. I was terrified this time, like more so than before, because the part that couldn't get over is it doesn't go away. You get to move on and live your life, but it's still there. These treatments, they work, as my doctor put it, they work until they don't work. So when or if my protocol stops working, I want there to be another one in place that's just as good or better, and that's going to be there to work. The research the American Cancer Society does, because of the fundraising that we do, fills me with the most hope, because without it, drugs that I'm currently on wouldn't be available. And there are new treatments always coming out, and they're because there's research that's ongoing. That's the most important part to me. Every day that, I get to walk around and be with my family and my kids is a day to celebrate.
January 7th, 2013 is a day that I'll never forget, because that's the day that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My family doctor called me in and said, it's not good. And I just knew by the look on his face that I had started a journey that I wasn't prepared for. They had asked me if I would participate in a clinical trial. I decided that I needed to do this. I needed to do this for the future of other women who were experiencing it. And I needed to do it because I benefited from all the other people that came before me.
My name is Dr. Reshma Jagsy. I was very fortunate to receive a mentored research scholar grant from the American Cancer Society. That was a career development award that provided me very early in my career with protected time and mentorship and training necessary to build my career as an independent researcher in the area of breast cancer. When individuals donate to the American Cancer Society, they can have faith in the fact that this is an organization that supports researchers who are actually really striving to make a difference in this disease. I was the direct beneficiary of these resources, and I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm able to do today, leading national trials, publishing studies, helping patients. I wouldn't have been able to do that without that support. And what the American Cancer Society does is it puts together all of those donations in a way that can make a true, meaningful impact.
Dr. Jagsy, if she was sitting right here, would tell you without a shadow of a doubt that her clinical trial cured my cancer. The treatment plan and the adverse reactions I had helped her determine the appropriate dose for all of the women that come after that. And that means more to me than me being cured of cancer. I am eternally grateful from the bottom of my heart. And if she was here, I would tell her that it's been a privilege and an honor to have her be a part of my team.
My hope is that from the sacrifices that Tess made here to participate in this clinical trial, and that from all of the resources that were provided by hundreds and thousands of donors to the American Cancer Society, that we will make advances that will end a disease that has affected far too many women, women I know, women that every person watching this will know.
I hope for a day when there's no cancer. I hope for a day when nobody has to go through what I went through. We can't get complacent. The fight's not over, and we cannot give up the fight, so we need to continue to donate.
I love to hear from the survivors, and we've got some that are messaging us. So Missy, 2 months out from chemo. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Missy. Selena, a year, 8 months cancer-free. And Ruth from Hannibal, Ohio, 16-year survivor. I love to hear those stories. Now, research to find more and better cures is at risk right now. And earlier today, you heard that ACS may have to reduce research funding by 50% this year. But Shannon and Tessa's stories showcase exactly how and why we stop this fight. Not now, not until we're finished. So how can we help? What can we do? Well, to start, you're here today and you've committed to Power of Pink. So let's talk about how we fund the future and how we fundraise this year. Scott Brokamp, one of our longtime Real Men Wear Pink ambassadors, has a few quick and easy tips.
Hey, I'm Scott Brokamp, and I would tell you the 5 tips for me are: get that Facebook fundraiser page going. Send it to everybody. Go and invite everybody you can, but send a message and say, hey, if you can't help, just like it and share it, please. Somebody can help. Number 2, tell all your friends, your family, your church, your business, whatever it is, just let people know what you are doing. The third thing is, think of something simple that you can do to get people together to do a little simple fundraiser, whether it's an online fundraiser, whether it's a get-together outdoors, whatever it is, think of something simple to do just like that. The other thing is, if you work for a business or a larger company, ask them to see if they'll do a donation match, right? That's a simple, easy way to do it as well. And if you're in a small business like I am, talk to your company, talk to your employees, talk to your coworkers, and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Do you think we can do something together as a company to reach out to impact our community? Those are the simple, easy things that you can do.
Scott has fundraised double year after year, just employing those simple strategies. So here's a couple more suggestions. Ambassadors who use Facebook fundraising raise $500 more on. Did you hear that? $500 more just by using Facebook. Also, ambassadors who make a donation to their own campaign raise 91% more than those who do not. Here's your first fundraising tip. Make a donation to your own campaign before you ask others to donate. And we've heard from some more survivors. So Ernestine is 18 years, 9 months, 13 days survivor. That is awesome. And Carla is a 12-year survivor. So congratulations, ladies. It's wonderful to hear from you. ACS is also offering a new fundraising, a virtual pink silent auction. If you have something valued at $250 or more that you think would be a good fit, let your staff partner know. Proceeds from your donation go directly to your fundraising campaign, so it should be a great way to boost fundraising efforts. Okay, it's time. Let's do this. For all the women and men out there facing breast cancer, and for the people who cannot wait for a more convenient time, here's what happens next. If you haven't registered on the Power of Pink website, do it now and get started. If you need help, don't hesitate to reach out to your American Cancer Society staff partner. I know my hope is a future free from breast cancer. Let's not wish for breast cancer to go away or the scientists to find better people that go out and make it happen. Thank you to our sponsors, University of Kentucky and Baptist Health. And thank you all very much. Have a great day.